So if you don't know what interest is, it's a small percentage paid by a bank or company that's added on to initial investment. And the difference between simple interest and compound interest is that, let's say you have $5,000, and for simple interest, let's say the interest rate is 10%, like I wrote here, and this percentage means uh how much it increases yearly. So that means 10% increase every year. And for simple interest, it takes 10% of your initial investment amount, which is $5,000, and it adds that every year. So 10% of 5,000 is 500, and then it adds 500 each year. So in year one, you have $5,000. Year two, you have $5,500, and then on year four, you have $6,500. But for compound interest, it recalculates the actual amount of interest that you're getting every single year, and it's still technically 10%, but like for the first year, it takes 10% of your original investment, and then it adds that onto your amount. So year two, you have $5,500. But then, for the next year, it recalculates your interest by taking 10% of your new balance. So for the simple interest, when it went from year two to year three, it already just has the 500 value as 10% of $5,000. But for compound interest, it takes the 10% of the $5,500 and adds it onto that. And for the next year, it calculates 10% of $6,050 and adds it onto the next year. So basically, you're getting more money. And like I said, the percentage is always like how much interest you're getting per year. But sometimes you'll see something like compounding monthly, which means that instead of just getting your payments once a year, or the interest compounding once a year, you're gonna get it 12 times per year. And that doesn't mean you're getting 10% every single month, but you're getting like 10 over 12% every month because there's 12 months in a year. So if you're compounding 4 times a year, then you're gonna get 10 over 4% interest every 3 months, because 3 months is the fourth of a year. And here's the formula that you can use for compound interest. And if you're in IB, then this formula is already given in the formula booklet and you do not need to memorize it. But all these letters mean something, and FV means the future value, and PV means present value. So that's the initial investment, and FV is going to be how much money you have after a certain amount of years. And PV is being multiplied by 1 plus R, and this is like your annual interest rate, like 10% in the example I gave in the beginning. So that means R would be 10 over 100 times K, and K is how many compounding periods you have per year. So if it's just compounding annually, that means K is 1, but if you're compounding like quarterly, which means 4 times a year, then K would be 4. And then you should put both K's as 4. And N is just the number of years. So let's say you have like $2,000, and this compounds quarterly, and the interest rate is 5%. So what you can do is you just set future value equals 2,000 times 1 plus R, which is 5 over 100, times K quarterly, so which is 4 to the power of 4 times N. And if you want to see the value after like 5 years, you just replace N with 5 and then calculate that number. So yeah, that's how that formula works. And now let's do a practice problem. If you think you can do this problem, then pause the video and try it. This problem asks, Kim invest $2,000 in an account that pays a nominal interest rate of 2.5% compounded monthly. Calculate her account balance in 5 years. So we can just write the formula first. So future value equals present value times 1 plus R over 100 K over to the power of k times n. And again, this is in the formula booklet if you do IB math, so you don't need to memorize this. So we're calculating the account balance in 5 years, which means that we're calculating the future value when n is 5. So future value equals present value 2,000, because that's our initial investment, times 1 plus r, and r is that's your interest rate, and it says a nominal interest rate of 2.5%, so that means r will be 2.5 over 100k. And since it's compounded monthly, that means you get it compounded twice per year, 12 times per year, so k is 12 to the power of 12 times 5. And you can try to put this into your calculator to see what you get. I'll just simplify a little bit more. So 2,000 times 1 plus 2.5 over 1,200 to the power of 60. And this will be $2,270. And in your calculator, you might have gotten something a little bit more specific, but in these type of problems, at least for IB, you only need to give your answer with 3 sig figs unless the problem states otherwise. So you can just write your answer as 2,270, and that's our final answer. So everything that I explained in this video and the problem that I went through should give you everything you need to know about how to calculate compound interest. If you learned something from this video or if you enjoyed it, then please consider liking and subscribing.